Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has set Monday, that's February the 11th, as a deadline for all political parties who fail to submit the passport photographs of their agents to do so or forfeit proper representation during the election. The Commission said in a statement that many of the political parties have failed to submit the photographs of their agents in line with the law. INEC had fixed February the 1st as the last date for the submission of the names, 2 passport photographs or each polling center agent and their sample signatures. A former chairman of the National Human Rights Commission, Professor Chidi Odinkalu, has taken a swipe at the present administration's method in dealing with corruption in the judiciary. He believes that judicial officers, no matter how highly placed they are, must be made to face the consequences of breaking the laws they are meant to uphold. That's if they're found guilty. But he places the primary responsibility for that on the National Judicial Council, which he says must do the right thing in the case against the suspended Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onogen. He was speaking at the forum in Lagos.
And we need to acknowledge that. Corruption, it is not by sovereign vigilantism. This is my personal view. Sovereign vigilantism for me is what the president did. Was Justice Onogen a thief? If we prove it, send him to jail. But let's prove it. Because if you don't prove it, you will end up making him a martyr. If he's a thief, let us shame him with conviction. And the idea somehow that the National Judicial Council will not be able to deal with him because he's the chairman is an insult to all Nigerians who do public service with integrity.
Something unusual happened today in the city of Lagos, and that is the disappearance of the train of trucks which have littered major roads linking the nation's seaport for several months. Residents of the commercial city woke up to the surprise and wondered who took the decision today after so much calls and media reports on the danger and the traffic gridlock caused by the trucks almost on a daily basis. Our correspondent, Olu Phillips, has been following this development for quite some time now, and he has this report.
For several months, these trucks have been a menace on the streets of Lagos, particularly the roads linking the nation's ports in Apapa, Ikorodu Road, Ijara, Eko Bridge, and Carter Bridge.
The bridge is not being used in the way it should be because it's meant to allow people to get from A to B. And of course, if half of it is blocked, then certainly that's causing a problem.
There have been a major cause of gridlock, defying all attempts to get them off the road, and at some point it appeared the owners of the trucks are bigger than the state itself. Since it became apparent that no one was willing to sanction them, or so it appeared, for indiscriminate parking or dare impound the trucks. We churned out tons and tons of reports over this, and one of them prompted the visit of the nation's vice president. He even issued a 72-hour ultimatum, but shortly after the time elapsed, it was back to business of the trucks by the drivers and for their owners.
Immediate solution is to go on electronic call-up system, a system that will inform every stakeholder, the owner of the truck, the driver of the truck, the shipping line, the terminal operator, the traffic regulator on the road. They will be on the same page.
Soon, it became a constant. Enforcement was simply not visible. Yet, officials kept explaining why these trucks may have to be a part of our lives for now. Like a magic wand, Lagosians woke up on Friday morning to discover that the trucks had all disappeared, all for the visit of Mr. President. Who gave the orders? Who cleared the trucks? Why did they comply? If you're very familiar with this area, especially the Eko Bridge, you use this road sparingly or regularly. From the pictures you see, you can tell that something dramatic has happened here. Whatever it takes and whatever it took to have this kind of clear scenario on these roads, as you can see all the way to Ijara, there isn't any truck on these bridges. Did he take an order? Perhaps. Was it a miracle? Maybe. But your guess is as good as mine. Whatever that happened that brought this situation, may it please be permanent, you may say. And again, if this is possible, and wherever the trucks have gone to, can they just remain where they are so we can have sanity on our roads? Indeed, what has happened today is a testament that this can be done, that these trucks can be fixed, and today they have been fixed. How long this will last, who knows? From the Eko Bridge here in Lagos, Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
I'm sure a lot of Lagosians will be heaving a sigh of relief. But let's move to the Niger Delta Development Commission now, which says contractors and consultants will henceforth receive their payments at the comfort of their homes without visiting the NDDC complex, as all the unnecessary bottlenecks have been removed. The Acting Executive Director of Finance and Administration, Mr. Chris Amadi, says the Commission will ensure that a more efficient process is applied in paying for projects to meet contractors' obligations.
At the Royal Palace of the Asia Para Rebisi of Port Harcourt, the new NDDC Acting Executive Director of Finance and Administration, Mr. Chris Amadi, is welcomed by the Royal Fathers. The Finance Director explains the reason for his visit.
This is the first time an Equatorial sub has been appointed to the various boards that have come in the past. So I think Equatorial people are most grateful, and I deemed it fit after clearing from our leader, and he directed me to come and meet our elders to inform them what has happened, take the necessary blessings before I commence work. So that is why I am here.
One after the other, the Royal Fathers congratulate Mr. Amadi on his appointment as the first Ikwere man to be part of the executive board in the organization.
What we're doing here today is in representation of Ikwere, appreciation for what has happened for our son and us. For me, this is justice. We now will say that justice is possible in Nigeria.
He will do wonderful. I trust him. I know him. It's not the first time that he has been tested. He has been tested before and passed. So it's in order.
See how you can adopt a system, not only in Ikwere, let it be a system in NDDC, going close to the people. Because I see that NDDC is an intervention agency.
The high point of the event was the presentation of staff of office to Mr. Chris Amadi by the Royal Fathers. Prayers were also offered for a smooth sail in office.
The President also met with the business community today. Kayode has that and other stories on Business News.
Well, that's right, Melinda. But first, the federal government has signed a $30 billion agreement with investment partners to boost export earnings from made-in-Nigeria products and promote industrial revolution in the country. The investment partners include the African Development Bank, Africa Export and Import Bank, Africa Finance Corporation, Bank of Industry, and Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority. The deal, which was signed in Abuja, marks the preparation for the formal takeoff of Nigeria's Industrial Revolution strategy as contained in the federal government's Economic Recovery and Growth Plan. In the meantime, the federal government has designated Eyimba Economic City in Abia State, Funtua Cotton Cluster in Katsina State, and Lekki Model Industrial Park in Lagos as special economic zones for smooth commencement of the project. Elsewhere, the federal government has allocated a 5.12 hectare piece of land in Abuja, which is the federal capital territory, to Afrexim Bank in order to develop medical services for Africa's largest economy. A statement from Afrexim Bank notes that the Medical Center of Excellence will be completed in 24 months after a groundbreaking exercise expected later in December. The project, which is the first of Afrexim Bank in Nigeria, is being developed in collaboration with King's College Hospital, of the United Kingdom. The center is built to promote intra-African medical tourism and conserve foreign exchange. Well, before President Muhammadu Buhari joined the crowd at the Teslim Balogun Stadium earlier today for the APC rally, he had met with members of the business community in Lagos. He explained to them that efforts being made by his administration to reposition the economy are yielding results, while the challenges remain. Achievements in the area of security, the economy and the fight against corruption are visible. Other members of the president's campaign team, such as the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Trade and Investment, as well as the Minister of Works, Power and Housing, also took turns to assure the business community of the government's plan to turn things around for good in the country.
Launched also the Minister of Finance a new strategic revenue initiative, and the objective is for us to raise revenues. One of the ways to raise revenues is to increase taxes. But fortuitously, we recognize that the fact that for MSMEs, what we need to do is actually to reduce taxes. But for us to be able to reduce taxes for small, medium enterprises, we have to be able to formalize them. So we have to work with you to find how we can formalize this 96% of the businesses that are in the informal sector, and the incentive we will give is to reduce taxes. We believe the larger the base and the lower the tax, the more revenue will end up accruing.
So in terms of enabling business, we are investing in the infrastructure that will support. In terms of energy, for example, some of you might be aware that we are taking energy now directly to markets as a cluster intervention to provide competitive energy where the discos have not been able to provide. We are also expanding the distribution and transmission network, and 2 days ago we hit our all-time distribution peak of 5,373. Our previous peak was 5,222, but we need to do a lot more. So we can double this in another 4 years.
More business stories now. The Executive Director of the Nigeria Export Promotion Council, Mr. Olusegun Awolowo, has announced plans by the federal government to grant incentives to Nigerian exporters. This, according to him, will serve as a boost for the production and export of made-in-Nigeria goods. Mr. Awolowo, who was speaking at a meeting with journalists in Abuja, says the intervention will help create jobs and income for owners of small businesses.
The president has graciously approved, and we're looking at some 350 billion naira worth of promissory notes that will go out to exporters. So that will help them bring confidence back into the system. And the whole system is now renewed. It's now an export credit certificate that is the incentive you will get, which we can use for your tax, for your also custom duties, for to settle debts, many things. So we think with that, it will be a big boost to export promotion again in Nigeria.
And the president of the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Adetokunbo Kayode, has reiterated the need for developing the entrepreneurial skills of the nation's youth. Mr. Kayode, who says that over 1,000 youth have benefited from its vocational trainings, believe they have been equipped to provide jobs, reduce poverty and unemployment among their peers. Well, that's business news for tonight. Thank you for watching. I am Kayode Okikiolu.
Many thanks, Kayode. Still ahead on the news at 10. Mali edged Ghana to set up a semi-final clash with Nigeria at the Under-20 AFCON and also qualify for